generation of the synthetic data using the click reaction. And we have then we got the database here, and for this particular project we generated about 20,000 different molecules, synthetic molecules. And then we are using these molecules to predict the blood-brain barrier formation. Of course, we can do the regression to see whether our synthetic data actually replicates the experiment or not. But for this particular project, if you have synthetic data and experimental data, you can just calculate the log BB and then create a regression. One thing is, of course, you don't really have the experimental log BB for the synthetic data, right? Then you have to do the experiment. You will come up with the best top 10, and then you do the real experiment. Then you do the regression. Of course, maybe 10 is not enough, but it's kind of, sometimes it's laborious when you don't have the robotics. But we are also using the different tools because there are some other groups working on the BBB. So if we have synthetic data, we are testing different software, and then we comparing the results, whether we have a consistency with the data or not. So if our data is not replicating the results from our group, then we see something is not right. So we have to probably introduce some other functions to the code, and maybe the function is not right. But so far we tested it, and we didn't really find any discrepancies. Of course, we are planning to integrate this particular software because here, as I already mentioned, this software is relying on the classical OBB models, which are not very precise. The correlation coefficient here is 0.7, which is quite not good because at that time, this was published in 205, 207, and at the time, this was a limited data set of the compounds with the experimental OBB. And the biggest database we had at the time was 30 molecules, 40 to 50 molecules. And now we have close to 10,000 molecules. Then we are planning to integrate this particular AI model to our software to improve the accuracy for the synthetic database, of course.
Okay, due to the limited status, that's please join me again in thanking Professor Shityakov for his insightful presentation. Okay, the session